This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
Welcome to The Drive. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and it is we're dodging raindrops here for like the next 6 days, it appears.
It sounds like it, yeah.
Like in and out. Rain, no rain, rain,
Yeah.
no rain. I got to here today. It hadn't rained at all at my house, and I got like 3/4 of the way here to Bridgeville where we do the show, and the roads were all wet. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't really see any today.
Yeah.
I was in the basement on a podcast, but last night it poured for a little.
And there are
then-
still people that don't have electricity right now,
I
all
know.
over the Pittsburgh region.
I know. We were out like 24 hours, which seemed like 3 days. But
Yeah.
I can't imagine being out that long, right?
Yeah.
You forget how much things work off electricity in your house. Yeah.
I was talking with, of course, I run a baseball league and umpire and that kind of stuff, and I was talking with one of my umpires. He said, why did Avella canceled yesterday? Because they didn't have school.
Right.
Because they don't have any electricity right now in Avella.
Yeah. Oh, my kids haven't gone since Tuesday.
Yeah. And he's like, I don't know why they canceled the baseball game. I get why they would do that for high school. I'm like, well, you don't realize how much you need electricity until you need electricity.
Yeah, it does a lot of stuff. Right. And making matters worse, for whatever reason, at our house, we don't get cell coverage well at all. And I don't know why. It's, pretty populated area. It's not the middle of nowhere. But we need the internet to really use our phones. So our kids, when it was down, I mean, your phone was a paperweight, basically. They were leaving the house, going anywhere they could for service.
They could read books.
They could read books, yeah. Sure they could. But they've been enjoying themselves.
Yeah, I'm sure they have.
Right.
It's that time of year now that the draft is over, and we kind of went through some stuff yesterday, rankings and things of that for fantasy nature and futures and things of that nature. ESPN, Ben Solak, has put out the Rookie of the Year predictions.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The ranking the candidates. And
I haven't given this any thought.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, his top 4 guys are Cam Ward, which makes complete sense.
Quarterbacks always get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Like Baker and Saquon were the same year, and Baker won it, which
Yeah.
probably shouldn't have, but, he was the quarterback.
Ashton Genty is second.
I'm going to say he has to be right on his heels, though.
But then 3 and 4 are interesting. Tyler Shuck, which I
Could be a starting
kind of
quarterback.
get. Yeah, he could be
yeah,
the starter. And Jackson Dart.
Oh, I don't think
I
Dart's
can't go
on
with
it.
Jackson Dart at all.
No. Shuck makes sense. I
Yeah.
think he's got a pretty
got a
good
path
chance
to starting.
be a
Yeah.
17-game starter. Dart, I can't imagine he's going to play in the first month.
Yeah.
I mean, at a minimum, and maybe deeper into it. And maybe I'm crazy.
Those are
but-
the odds-on favorites. Those are the 4 top odds favorites. His picks are different than that.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Boy, I would not put any money on
I think
Dart.
they're trying to get the New York vote or the New York money to go, hey, Giants drafted a quarterback. Let's put a bunch of money on that.
How do you put him over Ted McMillan or Hunter or?
Okay, so here's the
lot of
list
running
that Ben
backs.
Solak
Yeah.
came up with.
Yeah, I like Ben's work.
Cam Ward,
Okay, that's fine.
Ashton
he's going to
Genty.
start in week 1.
Ted McMillan ahead of Shuck,
I agree.
Travis Hunter at 5.
Sounds like he's going to be receiver first.
Sounds like it,
Yeah. I would take him over McMillan.
Matthew Golden with the Packers.
Very possible.
Emeka Egbuka with the Buccaneers.
Tough. I wonder what Godwin's ankle situation is, but they gave him money,
And then Jackson Dart at 8. None of the running backs. I'm
I was
kind
gonna
of
say-
surprised.
I would definitely. I've been looking more and more into dynasty rookie ranks and all that. So this is kind of fresh on my tip of my tongue. R.J. Harvey to me is running behind a good line and a decent offense.
Well,
and a run first
that's not his
offense.
final list. He was mixing things. He was doing it first.
Okay.
So here's his final list. I should have read this whole thing before I got to it.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right, so he has Cam Ward, Ashton Genty, Omarion Hampton 3.
I get it, but
That's a crowded backfield.
that's a crowded backfield. And as of right now, J.K. Dobbins is there, who was pretty good last year.
Then Ted McMillan.
Okay.
Then Tyler Shuck.
Would you Shuck higher?
He's a quarterback.
That sure helps.
Yeah.
If he plays 17 games.
Travis Hunter at 6. 7 is Matthew Golden. 8, Emeka Egbuka. 9, Quinshon Judkins.
Okay.
10, Travion Henderson.
Okay. I would have Harvey over almost all those guys.
11 is Jackson Dart. 12 is R.J. Harvey with the Broncos.
Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking about competition for playing time.
13 is Caleb Johnson.
I was thinking he should be higher too. But
14 is Colston Loveland. 15, Tyler Warren.
Does a tight end ever won it?
I mean, if he didn't win it last year, if he didn't win it, didn't win it last year, it's not going to be done.
Right. I mean, it's hard. You're not going to have a better year than him.
16, Will Howard.
Wow.
Yeah. 17, Shedeur Sanders. 18, Dylan Gabriel.
I was going to ask, do you think there's any other starting quarterbacks on week 1 than Shuck or Ward?
I don't see it.
Maybe in Cleveland, but I doubt it.
If I were doing this list, Ward would definitely be 1.
Him and Genty stand alone.
Genty would be 2.
Yeah.
Hampton wouldn't be my 3.
He wouldn't either.
Shuck would actually be my 3.
I think it's between Shuck, Tet, and Hunter.
If Shuck starts, think about it in terms of
if he's the opening starter, that's a huge start.
Think about it in terms of what happened last year.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Daniels was the favorite, more or less.
I would think
after week 4.
Williams.
By week 4,
clearly. Yeah.
Early in the season, he was a favorite. Nick's closed the gap later, but it was still Daniels to lose because Nick started all those games. So if Shuck starts all the games and gets better as the season goes on,
he has a Knicks-like season.
Let's say he throws 18 touchdown passes.
Right. It doesn't stink.
Doesn't stink. Yeah.
Right.
He's going to be in that conversation ahead of any of these other guys.
I
mean, honestly,
I would have him over Hampton for sure.
Yeah.
I think McMillan and Hunter have strong cases.
It's just,
I think Hunter's going to play a lot of offense.
That's fine. Is he going to catch 70 passes?
I don't know.
80 passes?
Right. I think Shuck would be my 3 as well, but I would tier them Ward and Genty, tier 1. McMillan, Hunter, Shuck, tier 2. Harvey might be in my tier 2.
I would have Judkins, Harvey, and Johnson in the same tier and ahead of Hampton.
Right.
Because I think there's more of a path for them to be the true
immediate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's going to be a split backfield from the start. That's why I keep going back to Harvey. I don't know what his competition is.
Yeah. I mean, he probably won't be the third down back.
Probably not.
They get the kid from Youngstown State.
Mm-hmm. And they still have the Notre Dame dude who's a banger. But I mean, that's not much to be in your way.
Yeah.
The tight ends?
No.
I just think that's such a hard road.
It's rookie wide receivers. Yes, we've seen a bunch come out and play really well in recent years, but they didn't have competition.
I'd say Ibuka and Golden have a tough road.
Yeah,
I like Golden's chances better. Who are some of the other receivers that are even in the mix?
Like Hunter's not going to be the number 1 receiver on the team. He's going to fight with Brian Thomas for catches.
I would imagine, yeah. I mean, but I could see 70 to 80 though when it's all said and done. That's why I'd probably have Tet ahead of him. That tier 2, I guess I'd go Shuck, Tet, Hunter. Hunter's highlight film.
I think I would have all those running backs, including Hampton, in that group, in that tier 2 guys.
I keep avoiding Judkins because I think their offense is going to be terrible.
I think it's going to be bad, but if he gets 250 carries,
that will go a real long way.
Yeah, he's going to probably end up with around 1,000 yards. And
do you think Henderson out-touches, not out-carries, out-touches Ramondre?
Yes.
I think he out-catches him.
Yes. I think he does just overall because it's the first time that Ramondre Stevenson puts the ball on the ground.
Right.
It's done.
I mean, they said a lot by drafting, Henderson where they did.
In that group, they're not the ones that gave him money.
No, right. Any other backs?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's always one injury away guy. Yeah.
Somebody will emerge and have a few weeks here and there, but I don't know if there's anybody that
I'm putting money on at the moment or anything. I mean, Caleb Johnson's not terrible. Terrible bet.
If he puts up the kind of numbers that, again, they posted on ESPN earlier this week, if he has almost 1,000 yards and 7 touchdown catches and 20 to 25 catches, he'll be in the conversation.
Yeah. So I tweeted this. I just want to get the numbers right. So first off, Jaylen Warren, in any game he's been in,
never had 50. He's
never had 50% of the carries in any game. I mean, which is that's not a negative, By the way, Twitter's so dumb. I put
the
this
X-Twitter as it is.
Right. I put this out. Jaylen Warren has never had more than 50% of the team's designated carries in a game in his career. Why do you hate Jaylen Warren so much? I'm like, jeez, it's just a fact. I'm not in charge of giving out his carries.
If you state a fact, you're hating.
Yeah, that's what makes me crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you hate on him? So I'm like, I love Jaylen Warren. I think he's tremendous, but I don't divvy out his carries. I'm just reciting the stat. But anyway, everyone knows Arthur Smith.
He's had like 15 touches in a game like 3 times in his career.
Right. I mean, so Arthur Smith has had a top 3 in rushing attempts season in 4 of his last 5 years. His teams have been in the top 3
when he's been a head coach or a
coordinator.
coordinator.
Head coach or coordinator. And his teams have totaled 500 plus RB touches in each of the last 3 years. Najee Harris touched the ball 299 times.
299 times.
That are vacated.
Let's say Caleb Johnson gets 275 of those.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Not even all of them.
No, right. I bet he catches fewer balls than Najee did.
Yeah.
I don't even know how many he caught.
But let's say he's, as we think he will be.
250 touches, he could be in
If he's more explosive, which we think he will be, yeah, he's going to be in that conversation.
8 or 9 touchdowns. You're probably over 1,000 yards if you have 250 touches.
Yeah.
All-purpose yards, And what if Warren gets dinged up?
If he has a Tyler Algier season of 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
Tyler Algier rushed for over 1,000 yards.
He probably was 4th or 5th in the voting that year, or whatever. He wasn't far off.
Yeah.
But no, I think Johnson's not a terrible bet. There's a lot of backs that are an injury away.
Right.
That the last 10 games they could blow up.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Did he do defense?
Yeah, he did do defense. So I'm gonna scroll all the way to the bottom this time. I'm actually gonna look at this. Those are the base for the defensive and his picks.
I guess Abdul Carter would be the leader in the clubhouse.
You would be wrong.
Okay.
Number 1 for him is Michael Williams with the 49ers.
Okay. I wonder what Carter will do on 1st and 10.
That's the question there because they get a crowded.
Yeah. Everyone's talking about, he can play off the ball like Parsons. But I'm like, yeah, but you draft him.
That's not why you drafted him to do.
Pick for, right.
2 is Jalen Walker with the Falcons.
It's not a bad one. In a dome, I think he'll rush past for a while.
He'll have a bunch of tackles.
Yeah. Michael Williams is definitely going to be the starter opposite Bosa and see a lot of one-on-ones.
3 is Abdul Carter.
Okay.
4, Shamar Stewart with the Bengals. I don't see it.
I don't either.
That would not be my pick.
With all the good edge rushers in this class.
5 is Maxwell Hairston with the Bills. I don't know that I see that either.
You got to have picks.
Yeah.
That's a hard one.
He's going to get thrown at.
Yeah, the rookie corners get attention.
6 is Carson Schlesinger with the Browns.
I was going to say Schlesinger or Campbell as an off-the-ball linebacker, especially if the Browns' defense is on the field a lot. Because going back, I think their offense would be bad.
He could have a bunch of tackles 6 yards down the field.
Yeah.
7, Travis Hunter.
I don't know. He'll get the playing time.
Yeah, I just don't know that there's going to be the road to snaps there. 8, Mason Graham.
Okay. I don't see it either. But
9, James Pierce with the Falcons.
Possibly. I might take Mike Green over a couple of those.
It's tough for those rookies with the Ravens to get on the field.
I know. There's more competition, but I like their chances of winning games late and getting cheap sacks.
10 is Walter Nolan.
Very possible.
With the Cardinals.
Yeah.
11, Kenneth Grant with the Dolphins.
Tough to put numbers up at his position.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Style of play, yeah.
12, Jihad Campbell with the Eagles.
I'm a little shocked neither safety's gotten mentioned. And I would have been higher on Campbell.
13 is Jahdae Barham with the Broncos.
He gets his hands on the ball a few times.
And
right.
He'll be on the field as a nickel.
Yeah, good pass rush.
14 is Derek Harmon.
I don't know if he'll have enough snaps, but he can make an impact.
15 is Tyleek Williams. That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
16 is Malachi Starks.
I don't like Enuari all that much, but I think his role could be near the line of scrimmage, a trade up in the second round. I mean, if those were like the Vegas odds and it paid huge, I'd consider one of those safeties.
Yeah. I mean, is Maxwell Hairston clearly the best or in the best situation of any of the defensive backs?
He would have been 8 picks lower for me where he ranks them. I'd have definitely both linebackers ahead of him.
Yeah. Now, teams are probably going to have to throw against the Bills, but you could run on the Bills last year, though. That was the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. And Hairston, I don't even know would be my top corner, let alone
defensive back. I think if I were rating
corners are hard.
If I were rating the defensive backs, I might have Barron number 1.
Yeah, because he'll be very versatile. Maybe has a sack or two.
Yeah,
near line of scrimmage.
You're blitzing out of the slot.
I like his chances to pick up a fumble or scoop and score better.
Yeah. You're gonna be around the ball more.
Going to be around the ball more. Yeah.
Yeah.
He might be my number 1 DB.
And I would have Harmon ahead of the nose tackle types.
Yeah, I love Grant, but that's him and Williams almost have no chance.
That got me to thinking the situation. I talked to another of Derek Harmon's high school coaches yesterday on the phone, and we were talking, and it got me to thinking about. He was the Steelers' target all the way.
It sure feels that way.
Because so people are wondering when the Steelers took Yahya Black and said he's going to play on the end.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Steelers went into this saying, okay, if we have to take Kenneth Grant, fine.
We will. Right.
We'll take him. We want Harmon because we're going to keep Keanu Benton at nose tackle. Let him play nose tackle. He's going to still play, the 3 technique in the nickel and dime and rush the passer there. But if you took Kenneth Grant, now you're kicking Keanu Benton out to end as a full-time guy. You only need 1 nose tackle.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
A third nose tackle. That's why they got rid of
Adams all of a sudden.
All of a sudden, we don't need Adams anymore. We don't need 3 nose tackle types. But if we were going to move Benton to defensive end,
then we needed to hit that a little harder.
Yeah, then we needed to,
And I think we're all under the assumption that Black could do it.
He could.
Yeah, right.
He's just taller.
He's just the leverage thing can be a problem.
The leverage,
right.
Playing it with that height.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of playing defensive end for him, he's 6'6" and he has 35-inch arms.
Yeah. He's not going to do it on 3rd and 8.
Right.
But he can battle with the big tackle, the Penei Sewells.
Yeah.
Right.
He can be an Aaron Smith type and go out there and tie people up.
Let me just be a power player. Because we mentioned that with Grant, too. Like, I didn't think Grant would only be a nose if that was a Steelers pick.
Yeah.
But he probably would be predominantly.
Yeah, I just think that with Harmon, that when they got Harmon, that was their target, I think that changed some things. I think they would have taken him over Nolan and Grant.
I don't mean to talk badly about Nolan because I think he's in a phenomenal situation and I love the player. But there was stuff. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
But after the fact, it feels like the Steelers would have taken Harmon over Grant or Nolan.
Yeah.
And he's super clean off the field and all that stuff too.
Everybody I've talked to, I mean,
more than that. I mean, he's a gem.
And the high school coach that I talked to yesterday also coached Malik McDowell, who was a high draft pick in the league. Yeah. And he says, he's better.
Michigan State.
Yeah. He said Derek's a way better player, way better person.
Really? Okay.
So
McDowell didn't last.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, those Rookie of the Year honors are good stuff too.
Yeah, it gives you an idea of who might stand out to see who landed in the right situation.
There might be money to be made on the defensive side. I bet there's some long odds because there's not a clear-cut favorite to me.
There really isn't. I think a lot of these guys could be good this year.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to have the best year? I mean, the only one I would cross off of there that's in the top 10 would definitely be Shamar Stewart.
Right.
I don't see that, and I don't see Hairston being 5.
No. This position's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you have to look at it 2 ways. Is who has a real good chance to lead all rookies in sacks? And I think that's why he went with Williams and Walker right off the bat, which I probably wouldn't argue. And could an off-the-ball linebacker or safety just make so many plays, tackle, just rack up stats across the board?
I hate tackles. I hate tackles being counted. They're not even an official NFL statistic.
Right.
But it is what it is. Mm-hmm. They still... People look at the gaudy tackle number. Whoa, he had 125 tackles. Well,
that's inflated.
All tackles are not created equal.
No, like you said, and if it's 7-8 yards downfield too, or
somebody's got to get the ball carrier on the ball,
right, and depends on your score in that building.
Yeah. Anyways, that was interesting little side trip there by Ben Solak, taking a look at those odds on those things and coming up with his list. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more on The Drive right after this. And we are back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, I wanted to take a look. We always talk about how you can't necessarily grade a draft until it has a few seasons under its belt.
Yeah, to do it properly. All right.
I wanted to take a look at this from even a different perspective. I want to take a look back at the 2021 NFL draft.
Okay.
I'm looking right now at the grades given to that rookie class in 2021.
Like the day after or whatever?
No, after the first season.
Oh, okay.
So even the first season of a rookie draft can look much different than it does
no doubt.
a few years down the line.
Okay. That's fair.
This is, and I'm not picking on these guys. Gennaro Felice and Nick Shook did this for NFL.com.
Okay, and they did it a year after.
After that first year. So the Kansas City Chiefs got an A. You got Nick Bolton.
Nice. Worked out.
Creed Humphrey. These are both second-round picks. Joshua Kando, Noah Gray, Cornell Pyle, who's a wide receiver, and Trey Smith, the guard.
I think that ends up being an A. You got two high-end starting offensive linemen and a really good linebacker.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
held
one,
up.
That one held up.
Yeah. Now, I don't hold this against him, but the reason Trey Smith wasn't a second-round pick was because he had a heart or something. There was something medical, right.
The Denver Broncos got an A-. Patrick Surtain at number 9 overall.
Okay, that holds up.
They took Javonte Williams at 35.
Not a terrible pick, but the injury derailed him.
Quinn Miners in round 3.
Ooh, okay.
With Baron Browning in round 3.
He's a good player.
Caden Stearns, safety. Jamar Johnson, those are both fifth-round picks. Seth Williams in round 6. Kerry Vincent, Jonathan Cooper, and Marquise Spencer in round 7.
Miners and Surtain are two of the best in the league.
Honestly, if you're looking at this now, I might put that draft above Kansas City's.
Surtain's the most valuable of any of them.
Cooper and Browning are both
you got two good edge guys
players.
too.
Yeah, two good edge guys there.
Mm-hmm.
Miners is
I'd take Miners over Smith.
Yeah,
and Miners versus Humphreys about a tie.
Yeah. So I mean, you came out with.
You got Patrick Surtain.
You got 4 starters,
and one's a defensive MVP.
Yeah.
Right.
3. The Dolphins got an A-. They had 2 first-round draft picks. Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips.
I feel bad for Phillips. He just can't stay on the field.
In round 2, they got Javon Holland.
Okay. I mean, that's a pretty good start.
He's the perfect example of when people talk about, well, he's not on your team anymore, so that doesn't, he must have been a bust.
You didn't extend him, so he's a bust.
No. Sometimes
they
you just
signed for like $18 million.
Yeah.
Right.
Liam Eichenberg.
Money.
Right. Liam Eichenberg.
He's bad.
Hunter Long, the tight end. He's not even with them anymore.
Right. But he was part of the Ramsey trade, weirdly enough.
Larnell Coleman, offensive tackle. Jared Dokes, a running back in round 7. And as an undrafted free agent, they got Robert Jones. They got an A- for that draft.
Started strong.
First 3 picks were all good.
Yeah.
Holland can't stay on the field. Or Phillips I should say.
Right.
So
yeah, that holds up.
Detroit got an A-. Penei Sewell at 7 overall.
Yeah.
Levi
Ozarike
in the second round at pick 41. Aleem McNeil in the third round. Ifedi Melifawanu at 101. Amon-Ra St. Brown in round 4.
That might be the best one yet.
Derek Barnes in round 4. Jamar Jefferson, the running back in round 7. They didn't have anything in between 4 and 7. Undrafted guys, they got Jerry Jacobs, Tommy Kramer, Ryan McCullum, A.J. Parker, Riley Patterson, Brock Wright, all of whom played games that year.
Did they? Okay, so they brought those guys up because they actually did something.
You got Penei Sewell.
And Amon-Ra.
Aleem McNeil and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
You got 2 starting defensive tackles, the best right tackle in the league, and a perennial Pro Bowl receiver.
A top 10-ish wide receiver.
Yeah, that's strong.
That might be number 1.
I think it's number 1, yeah. There's some good ones, though.
Yeah. 5, Cincinnati. Of course, they got Jamar Chase, 5th overall.
Chase draft, right.
Second round, Jackson Carman.
Ugh.
Round 3, they got Joseph Asai.
Yeah, still trying to figure him out on.
Round 4, Cam Sample, edge rusher. At 122, they got Tyler Shelvin, a defensive tackle.
Boy, they draft defense so bad.
139, Deontay Smith, a guard. Round 5, Evan McPherson, the kicker.
He's their second best pick.
Round 6 was Trey Hill, the center, and Chris Evans, the running back. And they also got Wyatt Hubert in round 7. That one didn't hold up very well.
Just one guy.
You got one player and a kicker.
You got a superstar, and that's it.
Yeah. And a round 5 kicker that you picked at 149. Mm-hmm.
Then you would have got Sewell instead if the Lions preferred Chase,
They had a bunch of picks.
All those defensive misses.
Misses.
Over and over lately.
Yeah. 6 was the Patriots. They also got an A-. Mac Jones.
Ooh,
that didn't hold up very well.
His rookie year was good.
Right. Christian Barmore in round 2.
That's blood clots. That's unfortunate, but who knows where he's at.
That's a miss, though, at this point.
Yeah.
Ronnie Perkins, an outside linebacker in round 3 at 96. Nope.
Mm-mm.
Round 4, Ramondre Stevenson.
Okay.
Round 5 at 177, Cameron McGrone, a linebacker.
Not much.
Round 6, safety Josh Bledsoe. 197 was William Sherman, an offensive tackle, and round 7 was Trey Nixon.
By far the worst one.
That might be an F at this point.
Mac Jones, the toying totally.
A lot of these guys aren't like.
There's still hope for Barmore, and they gave him money, and who knows? But man,
a lot of these guys aren't.
Stevenson's not what he used to be, and that's a rough one.
Round 7, number 7, the Cowboys. They got Micah Parsons at 12.
Is that the Parsons draft? Yeah, this is a good draft class.
Kelvin Joseph, the cornerback, in round 2.
I think he's more or less been a starter.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Osa Odighizuwa in round 3 at pick 75. They had 3.
They gave him a big contract.
They had 3 picks in the third. Chauncey Golston at 84 and Nashawn Wright, another cornerback, at 99. At 115 in round 4, they had 2 picks there. Jabril Cox, the linebacker, at 138. Josh Ball, an offensive tackle. Round 5 was Simi Fehoko, a wide receiver. Round 6, Quentin Bohanna, defensive tackle. Also in round 6 was Israel Mukamu, and round 7 was Matt Faranouk.
Parsons, it's kind of like the Bengals almost. A superstar.
Odighizuwa was okay.
And Odighizuwa was a good player. I mean, they actually franchised him and then extended him. So, I mean, he's legit.
The Browns got a B+. They were 8th overall. Greg Newsome.
Okay.
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah in the second round.
Looking a little rougher than he used to.
Round 3 was Anthony Schwartz.
Oh, yeah.
Pick 91. Round 4, James Hudson, the offensive tackle.
Backup.
Also in round 4 was Tommy Togiai, defensive tackle.
Big nose tackle type.
Round 5, they had 2 picks. Tony Fields, the linebacker, and Richard LeConte, the safety.
Ugh.
And then round 6, they had a pick, Demetric Felton, the running back.
It's pretty bad. I mean, Newsome and JOK are worth the picks, I guess. Newsome's a good player. I didn't realize until the other day that you mentioned how bad JOK's injury is right now.
Yeah, he might have played all this year.
Yeah. I mean, he's a smaller guy, too.
Number 9 overall, also getting a B+. The Eagles, Devontae Smith at 10.
Okay.
In the second round at 37, Landon Dickerson.
2 hits.
Round 3, Milton Williams at 73. Another one of those things, well, they didn't re-sign him to a contract, so he must stink.
He must stink. He's like one of the highest paid defensive tackles in the league, just like Holland. But after year 1, Milton Williams wasn't doing anything.
No, he had done nothing at that point. Yeah, when they were putting this together, nothing. Right. Round 4 was Zech McPherson, cornerback. Round 5, Kenneth Gainwell.
Okay.
Another one of those guys. Well, he must stink. He's not. He's not with the Eagles anymore. He's
still in the league doing stuff.
He's in the league doing stuff. Round 6, they had 3 picks. Marlon Tuipulotu, Taron Jackson, a defensive end. Jacoby Stevens, a linebacker. Round 7 was defensive end Patrick Johnson.
Okay. I was wondering if that was the Mulata draft.
No.
Top was good.
Yeah.
First 3 picks.
Gainwell's a usable.
Gainwell was it was a hit.
Yeah.
Okay. They would probably. I mean, they didn't change a whole lot.
Yeah, that was the year after they took Jalen Reagor in the first round. By the way.
Oh, they had an awful receiver history for a while. That's why they traded for A.J. Brown.
The 10th best draft that year, according to this, after the first season, was the Houston Texans. They didn't make a pick until round 3.
I'm sitting here thinking, who were their first-round picks that year?
They had 2 third-round picks. Davis Mills,
who became a starter, but
he started 11 games as a rookie.
Lifetime backup at best.
Nico Collins,
nice.
at that point hadn't done anything.
He hadn't done anything yet, right.
In round 5, Brevin Jordan, the tight end.
Yeah.
Garrett Wallow, the linebacker. Round 6 was Roy Lopez, the defensive tackle.
Wow. How'd they get this?
And the notable free agent was Jimmy Morrissey. I don't know why they were 10th.
Yeah, I say, how would they?
Because of Davis Mills?
Because of Mills being a starter and showing a little promise. Because Nico's the draft class,
and he didn't break out until his third year.
Right, his rookie year wasn't anything.
Now it looks better now than it did then.
Right.
And I still don't know that I'd put that 10th overall.
I'm sure we could come up with other ones.
Yeah,
I mean, it was really only got Nico out of it.
The Raiders were 11 after the first season. Listen to these picks. Alex Leatherwood at 17. Because he started all 17 games that year for the Raiders.
And then they got cut a year later or whatever. It's horrible.
Trayvon Moehrig in the second round at 43. Malcolm Kuntz at 79.
That's also a hit, yeah.
Divine Diablo.
So.
Yeah. Tyree Gillespie, a safety, in round 4. Nate Hobbs in round 5.
Okay.
Cornerback.
He made money.
And the center, Jimmy Morrissey, who they cut. He had started 4 games with Houston.
They got multiple starters out of it. But the first
round pick
was
took
terrible.
Leatherwood in the first round.
I mean, if you look at their draft history in that neighborhood, it's like Ruggs and Arnett. And I mean, awful. So many misses in the first round.
The Steelers got a B. They were ranked 12th.
Okay.
Najee Harris in round 1.
Mm-hmm.
Pat Freiermuth in round 2.
Solid.
Kendrick Green in round 3.
Problem.
Dan Moore in round 4.
Held up pretty well, right. That's a win.
The 128th pick in the draft was a 4-year starting left tackle for you.
Yeah, he was a $20 million player.
Yeah,
and whether you like it or not, I mean that's a hit.
Buddy Johnson at pick 140.
Forgot about him.
156. They didn't have one there. They traded into it to get Isaiah Loudermilk.
Okay.
Round 6, Quincy Roche.
Mm-hmm.
Round 7 was Trey Norwood. And Presley Harvin.
Decent.
It was okay.
It was okay, yeah. Freiermuth's probably your best get. Najee's worth it. Dan Moore's definitely worth it for the price.
Yeah. And you're going to get comp picks.
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah. In 13 was the Chargers. Rashawn Slater at 13 overall.
To win.
Asante Samuel Jr. in round 2. Still unsigned.
I don't know how to judge that one.
Yeah. Josh Palmer in round 3 with Trey McKitty.
Palmer's okay.
Chris Rumpf in round 4.
It's just a weird off-the-wall question. Like, if you draft a receiver in the 3rd round and he turns into Palmer, are you happy or not?
He was a 77th pick. He's okay.
He's okay. Like, that's like middle of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's not a miss, but it's not a hit.
A lot of day 2 receivers are better than that,
Chris Rumpf in round 4, the outside linebacker. Brendan James, an offensive tackle in round 5. Nick Neiman and Larry Roundtree, a linebacker and running back in round 6. And Mark Webb Jr., a defensive back in round 7.
Really only Slater, unless I miss somebody. I mean, they got stuff out of Samuel, but it's weird that he's not signed.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's injury.
And they got some things that Palmer's
okay. Like you said, yeah.
But.
Yeah, one big hit, though.
Yeah. The Packers were 14th at that point. Eric Stokes in round 1.
That's a miss.
Josh Myers, the center, in round 2.
He's below average center.
Yeah. Amari Rogers in round 3 at 85.
Yeah.
Round 4, they took Royce Newman, a guard.
These are all bad.
Yeah, he started 16 games that year.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Okay.
Round 5, Turdell Slayton, the nose tackle. Shamar Jean-Charles, cornerback. In round 6, they had 2 picks. Cole Van Lanen and Isaiah McDuffie, got guard and a linebacker.
This is a bad draft.
And then in round 7, Kylan Hill, a running back.
Real bad draft.
That's a pretty bad draft.
That's a pretty bad draft.
When the best player you got out of it was Josh Myers?
Yeah. Center shouldn't be that hard to find, and he's a below average one.
Yeah. But they were coming out of that season, they were 14th.
I mean, I guess they had a couple guys play early.
15th was the Falcons. Kyle Pitts, 4th overall.
Yeah, that hasn't aged real well.
Second round, Richie Grant, a safety. Jalen Mayfield, an offensive lineman, in the third round. Darren Hall and Drew Dahlman in the fourth round. Dahlman's the best player there. Yeah,
right. I'm not ready to shut the door on Pitts, but it hasn't aged great.
Fourth overall?
Right.
Yeah. In round 5, Taquan Graham, a defensive lineman. Ogundije, Eddie Ogundije in the fifth round.
Mm-hmm.
And Avery Williams, cornerback. Frank Darby in the sixth round, and they didn't have a seventh rounder, but they did sign Felipe Franks.
And you got to remember, too, I mean, they're picking fourth overall in every round. I mean, they were bad.
Yeah, 440, 68, right. 108. Those are premium picks.
I mean, Pitts had 1,000 yards his rookie year. He didn't make hardly like any touchdowns.
He had one touchdown.
One touchdown or something. But everyone was so excited about him at that point. And then, no.
Let's go to the bottom now.
Now, so who are the Junkos?
At 32, coming out of their rookie year, was, drum roll, please.
There's a lot to learn here. You know,
the Seahawks
change quick. You know, right?
Now the Seahawks only had 3 picks.
Oh, that was that year.
Yeah,
I remember they didn't get much.
They got Dwayne Eskridge at 56, Trey Brown, the cornerback, in round 4 at 137, and Stone Forsythe, an offensive tackle, in round 6.
It played a little, but it's hard to give them a hard time for
they didn't
basically
have any picks.
being 0 for 3. Yeah.
Now this team had a bunch of picks, and this is how you end up having the first overall pick. The Titans.
Ooh.
They got a D+. Caleb Farley.
That was like 2 years in a row. They took a real high-risk first-round pick.
Second round was Dylan Raduns.
Nah, he's been a liability.
Round 3 was, they had 2. Monty Rice and Elijah Molden.
Ooh, that's bad work.
Round 4 was Des Fitzpatrick and Rashad Weaver.
Bad work.
Round 6, Racy McMath, a wide receiver, and Brady Breeze. They had all the cool names.
Yeah, they did have cool names, right?
And, yeah, that was ugly.
That's real bad.
I mean, you had a bunch of picks. And again, premium picks. You had 4 of the top 100, 5 of the top 109.
But nothing to show for.
Nothing to show for.
Right. That's where you're at now.
30 was the Colts. Quiddy Pay.
That's still kind of be determined.
Yeah. Deo, Bingo or Bingabo.
The Bears just gave him more money than they should have.
Round 4 was Kylan Granson. They didn't have a third-round pick. Sean Davis, safety, in round 5. Sam Ellinger, a quarterback, round 6. Michael Strahan, the wide receiver, in round 7, along with Will Fries. Will Fries was the best guy.
The best pick, right? I mean, that's a starter.
Yeah, in round 7.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it got a little better.
It got better. It would be better.
Wouldn't be 31st.
No, it wouldn't. Be, wouldn't be there, but it also is not great.
Right.
And let's take a look here at number 29, which was the Rams. They didn't have a first-round pick because they were after them picks.
Long stretch.
Tutu Atwell at 57. Yeah. Ernest Jones at 103.
He's bounced around, but he's a good linebacker.
3 picks in round 4. Bobby Brown, a defensive tackle.
Maybe he's made some money.
Robert Rochelle, a cornerback. Jacob Harris, a tight end. Round 5 was Ernest Brown, the defensive end. Round 7, Jake Funk. Ben Skoranek.
Yeah.
And Chris Garrett.
I don't know, maybe the worst anymore, but it wasn't tremendous. But they didn't have a first.
They didn't have a first-round pick, but they had a bunch of picks.
They had a bunch of picks, as they always did in that stretch.
Yeah.
No first, but they played the comp game really well.
Interesting. The team that was 28th is, believe it or not, the Jaguars.
Okay.
Trevor Lawrence.
I would say, was that the Lawrence draft? He was first overall.
And they had Travis Etienne. To finish 28th when you had 2 first-round draft picks, including the number one overall pick.
And the first pick in every round.
Tyson Campbell.
It looks better than that now. It wouldn't be 28.
No, they got. If you look at it, actually, there's some better players.
Campbell's a good player. Now you mentioned
Tyson Campbell at 33. Walker Little at 45.
Okay. They gave him money.
Andre Sisco at 65.
Somebody just gave him money.
Yeah. Jay Tufele at 106. Jordan Smith, an outside linebacker, at 121. Luke Farrell at 145. And Jalen Camp, a wide receiver, in round 6.
Not horrible, but you had a lot of resources.
You had
everybody would take more.
You had 4 of the top 45 picks and 5 of the top 65.
Including 1.
Including number 1 overall.
Yeah. Like, I don't know that Lawrence.
That should have been number 1 with a bullet.
Yeah. Like I'm sure like Mel's grades that come out on Monday, they were 1 or 2.
Oh yeah.
I mean, 2 first-round picks, including the Golden Boy. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's higher than that now.
It would be now,
no question.
But would it be markedly higher if we look back on it?
It'd be higher than some of those top 10.
It wouldn't be 28. It'd be in the top 15 somewhere.
I'd say ATN's
Cisco's
not
good.
worth a lot.
Cisco's a good player. ATN's
Little's
kinda,
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Lawrence is at least an average starter.
Yeah.
And
if you're going to put the Texans up there for Davis Mills, my God, you got to.
Right. Like that class is better than the Texans. I mean, even with Nico.
Yeah.
But wow, it does change.
Yeah, it's just again. So when you look at those draft classes, even after the first year, you don't know.
And Steelers are a perfect example of their rookie class last year.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of incomplete grades on that.
A lot of incomplete grades.
Yeah.
I'm looking at 27 on here. Is the Cardinals with Zaven Collins, Rondell Moore, Marco Wilson, Victor Dumukage, Ty Gowan, James Wiggins, and Michael Manet.
I don't know if
there's
any of those
nobody
guys are Cardinals.
there.
They
got nothing. That might be the worst draft yet.
There might be 0 guys on the roster still.
And a lot of these guys aren't even in the league anymore.
Yeah. I don't even know where half those dudes are. Zaven Collins might be still a Cardinal. You think he's a Cardinal?
I think he's still a Cardinal, but they don't know what to do with him.
But they just drafted linebackers and D linemen like crazy, right?
So it
does change quick.
Yeah.
We mentioned this the other day too. Just even if you just use Steeler drafts, I love getting excited about a draft class, but it's probably not as good as you think. There's a lot of misses for every team. I mean, it's not a Steeler thing.
Well, maybe we'll do that in hour number 2 in the second segment. We'll take a look back at some Steeler draft classes of the past. And
was it a good one or not?
Was it a good one? Yeah. So, anyways, let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. And we are back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Nick Casario was on Up and Adams today and said that they tried to move up in the first round of the draft. Remember, they were picking 25th, and that was one of the teams that we looked at pre-draft and said, maybe that would be a team that the Steelers might be able to move back with.
Yeah. So they thought about going up and end up inevitably going back.
Yeah, he said, we tried to get up, and teams started calling us around what did he say here, picks 18, 19, 20 range. We started to get some calls about our pick. So we were putting information up on the board. They actually had 3 different traded scenarios that were on the board at one time. They were prepared to also draft a player, obviously.
Yeah.
And then they ended up moving back. He said when Minnesota picked at 24 and we were able to consummate the trade with the Giants, so we scooted back there in the second round and then had that second pick to start Friday.
What I found interesting about that little section of the draft is I'm sure if the Giants called 25, Houston, they called 24, Vikings, who hardly had any
Didn't have any picks,
And they took Jackson, the guard out of Ohio State.
Who they could have gotten at 30.
So you probably could have waited a little bit on him. I know that there was an O-line tax. I mean, you had to go earlier on these guys, but I didn't understand why the Vikings would make the same trade.
Yeah, just one of those strange things. Yeah. So sometimes, drafting or making draft day trades much more difficult, oftentimes.
Oh, yeah.
Than the way we do it when we mock drafts.
That for sure.
Yeah.
Who do you think Houston would have been trading up for if they were trying to get to like 16, 17, 18?
Who they ended up taking? They took
the 2 Iowa State receivers and Ursery. But they didn't pick until the second round.
So
that was
probably one of the wide receivers. Then they wanted to go up to get
maybe Ibuka, or possibly. I mean, I would think it'd be O-line what tackles were falling in that neighborhood? I don't think any really.
Yeah, not really.
They were pretty
Simmons
much gone.
was there, but
they could have taken him at 25.
Yeah,
so
had to be one of the wide receivers, and Tampa took
Ibuka.
Yeah,
maybe that's the target.
Yeah,
could add up.
So, just an interesting little draft tidbit.
When GMs come out and actually tell you the truth. Like, we tried to trade.
Doesn't happen often, nor should they. But
like I heard the other day, the Rams were infatuated with Brock Bowers. Couldn't get there last year. This year, they were infatuated with Loveland. Couldn't get there. It's a far jump.
Yeah.
So, we'll trade down and take Ferguson. We're taking a tight end either way, I guess.
Takes us back to what we're talking about with the quarterback stuff next year with the Rams. Everybody has the Rams moving up into the top 5 to get a quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, that might be the 18th and 25th pick. Might not get you there.
That might not get you there.
Yeah.
So
it's funny. We've been doing a series, and today we talked about NFC West, and the Rams really didn't get much at all from this draft. I mean, if Ferguson's your best prize, and I didn't like the picks after that, I'm not saying that they didn't win the Falcons trade, but you kind of walked away with this draft without much.
Well, they put themselves in a situation, and the Steelers are going to be in that same situation going into next year, where when you have a whole bunch of those day 2 picks, you've got that good cheap labor over 4 years, and so you can afford to be a little more aggressive in a draft.
Yeah, or sort of sit one out.
Yeah,
half sit one out if it pays off down the road.
Yeah, so just something to keep in mind for Steeler fans. Like,
no, it's true. It'll be a different world having those picks.
All those picks
and how much fun are we going to have doing mocks next year with all those picks? You know, right?
Kidding me? I want to start doing that now.
I'm going to do it right now. Right?
Anyways, that's going to do it for hour number 1 of the drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with hour number 2 right after this. Welcome back to the drive. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, jumping into the little fantasy football here.
Yeah, it's starting to be that season, right?
Matthew Berry has put together his list of players he likes and doesn't like coming out of the draft because of the way things change for them.
Yeah.
Not just the rookies, but some of the veterans as well. And so quarterbacks, let's jump into that. Quarterbacks he loves post-draft. He has Caleb Williams on this list, number 1.
Went pretty well for him. I mean, you got 2 big-time receiving prospects.
Yeah.
And the interior O-lines looks like it's
There are no more excuses for Caleb Williams.
Oh, no.
I still have very many questions about Caleb Williams.
I do too. But for fantasy only, is he his top 12?
No.
I don't know what the.
He doesn't run enough to get me there.
He doesn't run as much as you think. I bet I could have come up with more. Like, would you rather have Trevor Lawrence?
No.
But I mean, there's probably 10 easy.
Yeah.
But he did well.
He did well.
I mean, his fantasy stock.
Like, I'd rather have Jordan Love than Caleb Williams.
That's a good example. Baker,
yeah.
Okay.
Who's next on this list? Baker Mayfield.
Well, I guess he would be nice receivers, yeah.
Yeah. Other guys that he has on his list. Those are the 2 guys that he loves. Others that he has on the list, Justin Fields, because they didn't draft another quarterback, so he's going to be the starter all season.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's forgotten about Fields is their new head coach had to defend against Fields in the NFC North.
Yeah.
And knows that he can be a pain in the butt, you know?
He has Justin Herbert on this list, and I actually look at this.
I would have thought more.
I look at this the other way because you said, well, they added 3 pass catchers in a draft. Yeah, but it was Trey Harris, Keandre Lambert-Smith, and Aronde Gadsden.
They're not.
None of whom are premium picks.
Right. And we thought maybe they, especially the offseason as a whole,
and
would
they
have added more receiver.
You added a couple of running backs in the offseason. You're going to run the ball more.
Right. I'm saying his passing numbers might not go up.
It's not. Yeah, he's not going to be a high volume passer. I don't want to touch Justin Herbert in fantasy next year.
I mean, he's a much better player than fantasy player, but his stock didn't go up.
No, it couldn't.
No, you're taking Caleb Williams over him in fantasy.
I would,
right? Yeah. I agree.
Trevor Lawrence is a question there. Like Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Like, that's a legit argument.
Yeah, they're your QB2s.
Drake May.
I'll buy that.
They added Travion Henderson and Kyle Williams. Is that enough to?
I'm kind of including Diggs in that too.
Yeah, I guess
that's kind of a recent one.
I don't know when he plays though.
I heard today that he's been running and is looking good.
Okay.
I don't know how much I believe it, but you know, it's got better for him. Henderson's helpful.
Bryce Young in Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, you got a number 1 receiver. I don't think he's a true NFL number 1, but it helped his cause.
Yeah, and the last guy is, like
I might take May over all these guys we've talked about. He runs.
Tyler Shuck.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody expected him to be fantasy relevant, and maybe he is.
Quarterbacks he hates post-draft. Dak Prescott.
Yeah. You got a guard. Not much else.
It's still CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Tolbert, Kevontae Turpin.
Mingo. They traded for.
Yeah.
That receiver group's bad.
Get the tight end.
Right. I mean, Dak didn't get any favors.
No. Well, I mean, you're paying him a bunch of money. He's supposed to be the guy that elevates.
Where are you at on him in fantasy?
I would take him ahead of Caleb Williams.
I was going to ask you versus Baker.
I might rather have Baker.
I think I'd rather Baker. Baker throws touchdowns.
Yeah.
And
he runs.
Yeah, he does. More than Dak.
Yeah. Shedeur Sanders.
The guys went backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess maybe he had going into the draft, maybe people thought he'd be an opening day starter.
And somebody on our message board on yesterday's show said something, posed the point that, why do you not like the Browns draft when they got the guy in the fifth round that everybody said they were going to be taken at the second overall pick? I'm like, well, by the time the draft rolled around, nobody had them taking Shedeur Sanders anymore at the second pick.
I really dislike their draft. They didn't take any linemen.
Yeah.
I mean, Sanders made my favorite pick they made.
I mean, the value was great, but you'd already taken another quarterback.
But there's something going on there.
Yeah.
I mean,
running backs that he loves post-draft. Ashton Genty. Well, I imagine he probably liked him prior to the draft, too. Yeah.
Pete Carroll's got a pretty good reputation of feeding
he does.
this guy, though. And the O-line's okay.
The next one's a little questionable. And not because of where he landed at, but because of the situation. Amarian Hampton.
Ooh, you'd much rather he land in like Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Denver.
Right.
That's
Denver would be great.
Landing spot. No.
I mean, they gave Najee Harris some money.
Yeah. And he seems like a good fit for him.
Yeah.
And we didn't love Hampton for Rookie of the Year stuff.
Let's say it's a 60-40 split.
In Hampton's favor.
In Hampton's favor. That still doesn't make him a great fantasy running back next year.
No. I don't know if he's a top 24.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely not a top 12.
And I'll take my chances. Najee might be the third down back, too.
He's thinking it'd be Hampton.
He's a better pass blocker than Amari
he's better
Hampton.
in protection.
Yeah.
At least right this minute. I'm sure Hampton could take things over the last. He might win your playoffs for you.
Maybe
he could take over.
Yeah.
But I'd have a hard time drafting him high.
Quinshad Junkins.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he goes up because he's clearly the one. Sampson's not a real threat.
Yeah.
But I just think the offense is bad.
It's going to be bad.
I mean, I don't love him where he landed.
R.J. Harvey.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. That should work out really well for him.
Yeah. I don't even know if you have to like him as a player. I mean, it's just a good situation.
I mean, Jaleel McLaughlin's probably still
that was the name.
The third down back. Audric Estime is the other guy, and Tyler Batty. I mean, those aren't
That's
much.
the kind of competition you want to battle, yeah.
Caleb Johnson with the Steelers.
Agreed. Yeah, we talked about that in the Rookie of the Year stuff. That's a real good landing spot for him. Scheme, too.
His others receiving votes were Chase Brown with the Bengals.
Yeah. Taj Brooks isn't a bad player, but they thought they might get more competition.
Yeah. Isaiah Pacheco.
They didn't do much.
They didn't really. They added another seventh-round back, and
they drafted an O-lineman. That helps.
It's Brashard Smith. He's not an every down back.
No, that works off well for Pacheco. I'm a little shocked in a running back heavy draft they didn't do a little more than that.
Would have thought.
Yeah.
Javonte Williams.
I guess he's the one.
It sure looks like it. I mean, again, Jaden Blue is not an every down back, and
Miles Sanders
Phil Maffa is a seventh-round draft pick.
Miles Sanders is hard to trust, too.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's Williams.
Jordan James.
Yes. I think we were talking about him today. I mentioned we did an NFC West show. I think he's the two. I think he's the handcuff.
Yeah.
To McCaffrey, do you trust McCaffrey,
And they're not going to have McCaffrey in their closing out games.
No. I keep bumping Jordan James up my Dynasty rookie stuff.
Yeah.
He's going to play.
Devin Neal.
Not bad. I mean, you need Kamara to kind of get out of the way, but
it just might be a bad offense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
I don't know what the deal with Kendre Miller is. People don't seem to like him.
Yeah.
In the building, right? But it's a new group.
New group, and you just don't know.
It's not a bad spot for Neal, though.
Running backs he hates. Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, it was a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hurt. That definitely hurt.
He hates Najee Harris.
Well, he went backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd much rather they
again, he went from maybe you're getting 70% of the carries to maybe 40.
Right. You'd much rather they took Loveland or a receiver or Golden,
Jaylen Warren.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone thought he was going to be a bell cow.
Jaylen Warren's role is not going to change at all.
Right.
In fact, he might get a little bit more
than last year. I think.
I remember he was hurt at times last year, but it was pretty much a 50-50 split between him and Najee Harris.
Yeah, I don't think he went backwards.
No, I think he's the same.
Yeah,
I don't know if I would hate him.
He's a flex, right?
Yeah, that's what he is.
If he's a flex.
Tyrone Tracy.
He went backwards. Who did they take again?
They took
someone who was okay.
Scatabo.
Maybe that's a goal line guy.
You might lose your goal line carries, and he's not. They still have Devin Singletary hanging on too.
Right. Tracy's a nice story, but he's not infallible. You know?
He did fumble a couple of times down the stretch too.
Yeah.
Travis Etienne.
Yes. Maybe he ends up in Dallas or something.
Yeah.
I think
they took two. They took Bashal Tootin and LaQuinn Allen.
Oh, yeah, and Tank was already still there.
Bigsby was already there. Pass catchers he loves post-draft. Travis Hunter.
That's a good spot. I mean, you didn't want him to be a corner.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, someone traded up to make you mostly a receiver. You had New England and Jacksonville are the teams you wanted.
Yeah, right. For fantasy purposes, for
fantasy
sure.
purposes.
Tedero McMillan.
Yeah. I mean, somebody loved you.
Yeah.
You know.
Calvin Ridley.
I agree. I mean,
they didn't go out and add anything of note.
No, they get some mid-round guys that are kind of interesting, and Lockett they added right before the draft.
Yeah.
But Ridley's going to lead that team in receptions.
Yeah.
And he probably got a quarterback upgrade.
Yeah. Jerry Jeudy in Cleveland.
I'm not sure I'm there yet, but he has gotten a lot better.
Well, here's the thing. If they would have added Hunter, it would have been a much better situation for Hunter than Jacksonville.
Right.
And it would have killed Jeudy.
No, it would have really hurt Jeudy.
Yeah.
I think the key to him, though, is he wants Flacco to be the quarterback.
I think so,
Flacco's like Winston. He's good for receivers.
And right now, it's Cedric
Elijah Moore's gone.
Cedric Tillman, Deontay Johnson, Michael Woods, and Jamari Thrash.
He's the one. I like Tillman, but
he's getting the targets.
I mean, Jeudy had a really good year.
Yeah.
But I didn't see that coming.
I mean, he got 145 targets last year, which was 7th among wide receivers.
Like for fantasy,
that's not changing.
Would you take Jeudy compared to the Steelers receivers?
Again, 145 targets.
That's a ton of targets. Yeah.
Like there's nobody else in town to share them with.
Right. I think they're going to be losing a lot, too.
Yeah.
He's probably a wide receiver, too.
I don't necessarily love the player, but 145 targets, 145 targets.
Coaching staff likes him.
Colston Loveland with Chicago.
I don't know, rookie tight ends. I mean, I'm not all of a sudden making him a starter.
He's saying, Ben Johnson's the new coach, and the Lions ranked 8th in fantasy tight end points in his time.
It's more of a
Detroit.
dynasty thing, though.
Yeah. Other guys that he likes, Jack Beck.
Okay. I actually was thinking about this, too. I think Myers is a winner.
Myers
is
the number one.
Right.
Number one.
Myers put up a lot of
number one wide receiver.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Myers had a much better fantasy year than people realize. And if Jack Beck is his biggest, new competition,
right,
he's sitting pretty.
It's Jack Beck and Trey Tucker.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Quentin Johnston.
I guess they thought they could have got more competition.
Yeah.
Mike Williams doesn't look too scary. Johnson had an okay year.
Yeah.
He's not for me.
Kyle Williams.
Yeah.
That's a good, landing spot for him.
I think he could start opposite Diggs.
Jalen Tolbert.
I guess he's the 2.
I mean, they used a second-round draft pick on him 2 years ago. Like, he's gonna have to be the number 2.
I mean, I mentioned Mingo before. They gave up a 4th for him after a bad rookie year, which might just be a terrible trade.
Yeah.
They have some plan there.
Pat Bryant. I don't see it.
No. I like what Denver did all in all, but people are talking about Pat Bryant like they found their Michael Thomas. I'm like, I don't know. That's because it's Peyton.
Yeah, Peyton compared him to.
Oh, did he actually? He
did. He
okay,
compared him. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's pretty lofty. I mean, Michael Thomas led the league in receptions 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. Jalen Royals.
Not bad, but it doesn't look like Racey Race is going to move out of the way. And they
Hollywood
compared
Brown
him
is back, and
they compared him to
Xavier
Rice.
Woods is there. It's crowded.
It is crowded. Kelsey's still looming.
Mason Taylor.
Not bad. I mean, I doubt he'll be their number 2 receiver, but it's possible.
He might finish with 50 catches this year.
Yeah.
Terrence Ferguson.
I guess kind of by default.
Yeah. Pass catchers he hates post-draft. DJ Moore.
Yeah. There was a lot of effort stuff that people didn't like last year, and body language and things like that. Yeah.
Chris Godwin and Jalen McMillan in Tampa Bay.
Not Evans, though.
No, Evans is going to be Evans.
Yeah.
Although at some point, was he 32 now?
Yeah.
But
I mean, Godwin was like a top 5 guy when he got hurt.
He was getting peppered with targets.
Right, yeah.
He was a fantasy winner until he got hurt.
If he's real cheap this year, I think I'd roll the dice on him, especially if we see a little bit in the preseason.
Yeah. Jaden Reed with Green Bay. I don't think he goes away.
No, I think he's better than Doubs, and Watson's out of the mix. I think it's Reed and the first round pick. Golden, yeah. I think he'll be on the field a lot.
Yeah, just figuring out which one's going to be. Again, it's a typical Green Bay problem. Mm-hmm. Which one's going to be the number one? Like,
it's not as crowded as like Kansas City, though.
No, not nearly. Yeah. Especially with Watson out of the equation.
Right.
Tank Dell in Houston, well, obviously.
I don't know if he'll play.
He's not going to. He might never play again.
Right.
But they took Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel.
And already had Kirk.
Yeah.
And let alone Nico. I mean, Dell's out of the picture.
Tyler Warren in Indianapolis. I don't think that's a great landing spot.
It's a terrible landing spot. They got a lot of receivers.
And really inaccurate quarterbacks.
Yeah. I bet their run percentage is really high.
I would have felt better if Loveland had gone to Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. Just because he's better at adjusting to bad balls.
He did a lot of it at Michigan last year.
Yeah.
And bad quarterback.
I'm not saying Warren can't do it, but
right.
He didn't have to do it like Loveland did.
It was not McCarthy throwing to him. Yeah, that's a terrible spot for him.
Yeah. I mean, what's he finished with this year? 40 catches?
Probably a lot of short manufactured, easy layups too.
I don't even trust. I don't trust Anthony Richardson to complete the short passes on a consistent basis.
All these rookie tight ends don't do it for me for fantasy this year.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's very tough. But that was Matthew Berry's love-hate.
Okay.
Post-draft. Some interesting names on there.
I was just thinking from a Steeler perspective, nothing really changed that much. I know Warren made his list, but we didn't think he really should.
Yeah.
Johnson made his list in a good way, which I agree.
Should have.
He could have went somewhere where it was way more crowded, like Hampton did.
Yeah.
But all in all, I mean, is Rodgers fantasy worthy if he's the guy?
He doesn't run it as much.
He doesn't run enough.
I mean, he'll have 100 rushing yards this year.
Yeah. I mean, I'd take him over like Wilson from last year, but it'd be kind of in that neighborhood fantasy-wise. They're going to run the ball a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network, and you can hear The Drive every Monday through Friday right here on these very airwaves where you're listening now. You can also download the Steelers mobile app and get the show there, or you can watch along or listen along on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up on there. You can leave your comments or questions, and we'll get to those. But we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more right after this. Welcome back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and this is The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. And Matt, we mentioned in the first hour, we go back and look at some of the Steeler drafts over the last, everybody,
10 years or whatever.
Everybody knows the 1974 draft, the best in Steelers history. It's the best in NFL history, period.
Right.
End of discussion. Nobody's close.
Especially if there's Donnie Shell in the mix, too.
Yeah.
Undrafted.
Nobody's close.
Famer,
But you start to look at, like, a lot of people look at the draft and say, well, you don't have any of these guys on your team anymore, so the draft it couldn't have been a good one.
Well, we had some good examples of, like, Holland and guys like that were really good picks that just were too expensive. Yeah. Milton Williams.
So, for example, when people go back and look at, say, the 2016 draft, which was for the Steelers, Artie Burns, Sean Davis, Javon Hargrave, Gerald Hawkins, Travis Feeney, DeMarcus Ayers, Tyler Matakevich. Mm-hmm. So that draft was terrible. That was a bust of a draft. Artie Burns is still in the league.
Right. You're not thrilled you took him in the first round.
No,
of course.
But he's still in the league. Javon Hargrave got money, and if Stephon... Here's the thing with Javon Hargrave.
That's the best pick of the draft.
If they hadn't paid Stephon Tuitt,
he might still
the year before that, they could have paid Javon Hargrave not knowing that Stephon Tuitt wasn't going to last.
Yeah.
That doesn't make Javon Hargrave a bad pick.
That's not even close to a bad pick. That's a great pick.
That's a great pick.
That's a third-round guy that's turned into a almost Pro Bowler, kind of Pro Bowler type. I would argue, I know this is kind of getting nerdy, but for Matakevich in the 7th round, you accomplished exactly what you wanted in that. I mean, I'm looking at their careers.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you have to be a Steeler for life.
No, and I think sometimes people get caught up in that part of it.
Exactly.
For example, the 2017 draft, I don't care how you look at it, was a great draft for the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
You got T.J. Watt.
But that in itself is a great draft.
Juju Smith-Schuster in the 2nd round.
You got a lot out of Juju.
Cameron Sutton in the 3rd round.
You got a lot out of Sutton.
James Conner in the 3rd round.
Ooh, yeah.
Is a compensatory pick. Josh Dobbs in the 4th round.
That's a hit.
That's a fantastic. You got 5 guys who 8 years later are still in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't care.
One of them's one of the best players in the league.
I don't care where they're playing at.
Right.
They were good draft picks.
They were good draft picks. You picked the right people.
Yeah.
I think that's the way you have to look at it. We've had this, not argument, but conversation a lot lately. Dobbs in the 5th round is a good pick. If Howard has a Dobbs career, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
I mean, he lasted. He played meaningful snaps. He was useful on and off the field to other quarterbacks.
2018 was Terrell Edmonds in the 1st round.
Okay.
James Washington in the 2nd. Mason Rudolph and Chuks Okorafor in the 3rd. Marcus Allen, Jalen Samuels in the 5th round. Josh Frazier, a defensive tackle, in the 7th round. Again, not a great draft.
No, looked better early and didn't age well.
Yeah. I mean, James Washington was
I'd say he wasn't horrible.
He led your team in receiving yards in 2019 when you had nothing.
Yeah.
Edmonds was a 4-year starter for you, still in the league.
Yeah, it's not a worthless draft.
No.
Rudolph is aging the best, of course.
Yeah.
Chuk was a starting tackle. He's sort of in the Dan Moore conversation we had earlier.
Yeah. I mean, he's played 78 career games. The only guy in that draft class who's played more is Terrell Edmonds, who's played 101 career games.
Yeah, there's a durability thing with him too.
Yeah.
Not the greatest, but
not
horrendous. Again, if you get 3 starters out of a draft, you're really happy.
2019 was the Devin Bush trade up.
Ouch. Yeah.
And nobody was panning them trading up for Devin Bush at that time. Nobody.
Oh, right. Do you think his injury was the biggest thing that derailed his career? Or?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. But Deontay Johnson in the 3rd round.
That's a home run.
That's a home run.
Mm-hmm. I guess they didn't have a 2.
They didn't have a 2 because Justin Lane also in round 3.
I mean, he lasted a little.
Benny Snell in round 4.
That's not bad either.
That's a round 4 running back.
Yeah.
You got.
I mean, he was also a core special teamer.
Was a core special. Really, you got almost 1,000 yards out of him. In his career. Zach Gentry in the 5th round.
That's not terrible either. I mean, he was a contributor.
Sutton Smith in round 6. That didn't work out. Isaiah Buggs in round 6 as well. He's still in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Ulysses Gilbert in another 6th round pick, and Derwin Gray in the 7th round.
Okay.
Now, a lot of those guys were 5th round and lower.
Yeah. I know it's asking a lot, but one thing you'd love to see that hasn't really happened in that era is the 6th round pick.
You hit on one of those guys.
It's a real hit.
Yeah.
They don't have to be T.J. Watt, but I mean like a every down starter.
The next year, now remember they had traded their 1st round draft pick.
Right. Okay.
From Minkah Fitzpatrick. Yeah, Chase Claypool in the 2nd round.
I can't figure out if that's a good pick or not because there was some good stuff early. You end up turning him into Joey Porter.
He had in his career. He has 175 catches for 2,200 yards and 13 touchdowns.
I mean, his career really tallied off, but it was after you got rid of him.
Right.
I mean, I'm not sure if that's a good or bad pick for the Steelers.
You get Alex Highsmith in round 3.
That's
a home run.
That's a big time hit. Yeah.
Anthony McFarland.
I mean, frankly, like if the Niners taking Michael Williams at 10 turns into Alex Highsmith, they're happy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's any of these edge rushers.
Anthony McFarland in round 4. Not so much.
Yeah, right.
Kevin Dotson in round 4.
His best was elsewhere, but that's still a nice pick.
Yeah. Antoine Brooks in the round 6 and Carlos Davis in round 7.
Carlos Davis might still be in the league.
He's kicked around a little bit,
Him and his twin, I get confused.
2021, we went over that draft earlier. Najee Harris, Pat Freiermuth, Kendrick Green, Dan Moore, Isaiah Loudermilk. Those guys are all still in the league.
Yeah. And
And Isaiah Loudermilk is the perfect example of the people, well, you didn't give him a second contract. Well, they did give Isaiah Loudermilk a second contract. That doesn't mean it's a hit.
Right. I mean, they kind of brought him back, and he might not make the team.
He might not make the team,
right.
But it goes against. Well, if you don't give the guy the second contract, then he couldn't have been a hit. Yeah, well, you can't argue both sides of that.
No, there's too many circumstances there. That's not a good.
Dan
argument.
Moore was a hit. He's not
Dan
in
Moore's
Pittsburgh anymore.
Right.
But he was a hit more so than Isaiah Loudermilk.
He's very wealthy too.
Yeah.
Right.
2022. All those guys are still in the league right now. Kenny Pickett, George Pickens, DeMarvin Leal, Calvin Austin, Connor Hayward, Mark Robinson, Chris Olodokun.
Okay. You want more out of your first, of course, but quarterbacks have a high bust rate.
Yeah. Looking back at some of these other drafts, people want to look. How far back do you look at a draft when you say, for example, when Mason Rudolph and Terrell Edmonds left in the offseason. Terrell Edmonds, Mason Rudolph, and Chuks Okorafor all left last offseason.
Yeah.
Well, the Steelers don't have anybody left from their 2018 draft. Mm-hmm. This is in 2024.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
6 years in the NFL is a long time.
It's a long time. Not for long. I mean, NFL stands for not for long. Yeah, that does bother me sometimes. Like, man, they don't have anyone from their 2015 draft class. That's a long time ago. I mean, how many teams have
Think
guys?
about this. So the 2015 draft was Bud Dupree, who's still in the league.
Yeah.
Senquez Golson.
The other thing we have to note is these aren't top 10 picks, by the way.
Right.
Ever.
Sammy Coates, Duran Grant, Jesse James, L.T. Walton, Anthony Chickalo, Gerard Holman.
I don't know if that was a bad draft or not for the Steelers. Like Jesse James was a valuable player.
Losing Senquez Golson hurt.
Yeah, I'd say that was unforeseen.
Yeah, back-to-back injuries, and you just didn't never got anything. But you got Bud Dupree at him, and you franchise tagged him.
Yeah, he started slow, but you didn't need him to be a superstar immediately either.
The 2014 draft was Ryan Shazier and Stephon Tuitt in the first 2 rounds. Those were both home runs.
And just imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, what could have kept going on with both of them.
Then you got Dree Archer in the 3rd, but you took Martavis Bryant in the 4th.
Right.
That was a home run.
That's a home run. I mean, you got a real impact player in the mid-rounds.
Yeah.
That's a really good draft. Archer was just a flat-out mistake. He's too little. Yeah.
2013, they took Jarvis Jones in the 1st round. That's a miss.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got Le'Veon Bell in the 2nd.
That's the best back in the league for a while.
That was a absolute home run.
Yeah, absolute home run. It might even make up for Jones.
Marcus Wheaton in the 3rd. He was a 79th pick. Those 3rd-round wide receivers, once you get that low, we kind of talked about that in the
I wouldn't call him a bust, though. I mean, he played a fair amount.
Yeah. Shamarko Thomas, Landry Jones in the 4th round.
Landry Jones is another example of the backup quarterback that lasts is worth a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick. You
got Terry Hawthorne in the 5th, Justin Brown in the 6th, Vince Williams in the 6th. That's the kind of 6th-round pick
yeah. You get a starter in the 6th round. That's living.
And then the 7th-round pick was Nick Williams, who is still in the damn league.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Wow. No, that's good stuff. With the Vince Williams is a perfect example. He doesn't have to be Jack Lambert or Jack Ham, but he's a good player for you and plays a lot of snaps.
In 2012, Kelvin Beachum was their 7th-round draft pick.
That's a home run.
He was almost the last guy picked in that draft.
Mm-hmm. Still going.
248th, and he is still playing.
I don't know how many games he's played.
He has played 179 career games.
Wow.
That was their David DeCastro draft.
Mm-hmm.
With Mike Adams in the 2nd.
Adams was a mess, but yeah.
Cam Hayward, obviously, in 2011, still going hard. But you got Marcus Gilbert in the 2nd. He's a good player.
Yeah. I mean, that's a starting tackle. It's a hard position to find.
Yeah. And again, you were picking 31st that year. So 31st and 63rd.
I think that, again, goes without saying that a lot of these are late in the round.
The 2010 draft, you got Marquise Pouncey in the 1st round, Jason Worlds in the 2nd. And I know people want to rip on Jason Worlds, but he led the team in sacks in 2 different seasons.
Did he give the game up to just pursue other interests?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he was religious and did something with that.
He did,
as opposed to football.
But
he wasn't a bad player.
He was blocked for 2 years by James Harrison and Lamar Woodley.
Right? Yeah.
I remember people ripping, I can't believe it took him. I'm like, where's he supposed to start at?
Yeah.
Don't blame the player.
Right. That's not necessarily a bad pick, no.
Emmanuel Sanders in the 3rd. That's a home run.
That's living, yeah.
That was the 82nd pick in that draft. Then, oh, by the way, they got some guy named Antonio Brown in the 6th.
Yeah. Now that's where you're really talking. I mean,
you could make the argument that's one of the better drafts in team history.
Probably team history, right. Cam Hayward and AB in the same draft.
Marquise Pouncey is a borderline Hall of Famer.
That was Pouncey and AB in the same draft.
And you might have 2 Hall of Famers in that same draft.
Yeah, that's pretty strong.
That's pretty damn strong.
I wonder how often that's happened in NFL history. And we opened with the Steelers having several in one draft.
Yeah.
How many drafts had 2 Hall of Famers in the same group?
Going back here, I want to look here. The Roethlisberger draft. You got Roethlisberger, Ricardo Coakley in the 2nd, Max Starks in the 3rd.
No, that's a hit.
That's a hit. Pick 75.
Yay, Max.
There you go, Max. The Polamalu draft, traded up for Troy Polamalu, took Alonzo Jackson in the 2nd round. Yuck.
We're throwing some Hall of Fame names around, though, too.
But you got Ike Taylor in the 4th.
Oh, that'd be great.
You got 2 starting defensive backs, and one of them's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in the same draft.
Oh, if you get Ike Taylor in the 4th round next year, you're loving it.
Oh, absolutely. The 2002 draft, Kendall Simmons.
And that was really late, right? Wasn't he in the 30s?
He was 30th.
Yeah.
Antoine Randall at 62.
Simmons was a really good starter.
Chris Hope at 94.
He was a starter, right?
For a long time, yeah. Started the first Super Bowl for him. Larry Foote in the 4th round.
Also a starter.
Yeah. He played the most games out of all those guys, 187.
Really? Wow.
You also got Veron Haynes, who was a valuable back
third
for you.
round type guy. Or third,
and by the way, you got Brett Kiesel in the 7th.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's living large, too.
Yeah.
Those late hits.
They had 4 guys in that draft that played 143 games or more.
We mentioned, 2 starters is great. 3 starters is really great.
You got 5 in that one.
You got 5 in that one, right.
That's how you change things around. The 2001 draft, again, another Casey Hampton, Kendrell Bell.
Boom, boom.
Boom,
right.
boom.
And that immediately changed the defense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you also got guys like Chucky Okobi, played 78 career games. Rodney Bailey, who played 84. Roger Knight stuck around the league for a while. He was a 6th-round pick. Didn't stick here, but he played, I think, for the Saints for a long time. That 2000 draft, Plexico Burress.
That's a hit.
Marvell Smith.
That's definitely
in the 2nd round. Kendrick Clancy in the 3rd.
He's a quality player, right? Yeah.
Hank Poteet in the 3rd. He played 110 career games.
Did he really?
Clark Higgins played the most games out of all. He was a 5th-round pick, 172 career games.
Wow.
46.5 career sacks.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah. The 99 draft, Troy Edwards in the 1st round. Oh, you had a terrible draft. Scott Shields in the 2nd. Oh, you must have had an awful draft. Joey Porter in the 3rd.
Yeah.
That worked out okay. You got Aaron Smith in the 4th.
Edwards was good as a rookie, though, from what I remember.
No, really. He led the team in receptions kind of by default.
They need a receiver bad.
But you got Joey Porter and Aaron Smith in the 3rd and 4th rounds. You got Jeremy Tooman in the 5th. Chris Brown, the kicker, in the 7th round.
At least you hit on your kicker, too.
Yeah.
But you get Porter and Smith.
You got 4 guys in that draft who played more than 100 career games.
Porter and Smith are stalwart defensive. Yeah.
98 draft, Alan Faneca.
Huge.
Jeremy Stott. Okay, that didn't work out. Yeah. Chris Conrad in the 3rd. But then you took Hines Ward.
Wow. Yeah.
Then in the 4th round, you took Deshae Townsend.
Think about that. I mean, they got Ward and Faneca 1 year on offense, and then Porter and Smith the next year on defense. Like, not only are they good start, I mean, they're high-end starters.
5th round, they got Jason Simmons, who played a long time for them. Chris Fuamatu Malafala in the 6th round.
He was useful.
Those were useful guys. Just looking here. I don't know what I would rank. Again, a couple of those earlier drafts that we just talked about might be the ones that you look at and say,
they're some of the best ones in Steeler history for sure.
This one was 92, Leon Searcy.
High quality player.
Levon Kirkland.
Yeah.
At 38. Then you got Joel Steed at 67.
That's 3 big hits.
Charles Davenport, not so much. Alan Haller, not so much. Russ Campbell. Scotty Graham in the 7th round. But then the 8th round, which doesn't even exist anymore, you got Darren Perry.
Wow. Okay. A starter. Big time starter.
Yeah.
Good starter.
And then in the 11th round.
Wow.
Kendall Gammon.
Long snapper?
Long snapper. The first long snapper in Steelers history.
Wow.
Bet you didn't know that little piece of trivia.
Right.
Before that, Dermani, like the centers, did the long snapping.
They just did it and kind of loop on back and right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think
that's a good start to that draft. Wow.
Go to that 87 draft. That would be in the consideration. Rod Woodson.
Nah, that's a pretty nice start.
Delton Hall.
Okay, that's when they went D-back crazy, right?
Charles Lockett, not so much.
Yeah.
Thomas Everett.
Everett was a really good player.
Yeah. Hardy Nickerson.
Also a really good player. That's three. I mean, Hall was a starter. That's four defensive starters and a Hall of Famer.
Tim Johnson in round 6.
He played a lot.
Tim Johnson played 146 career games.
Did he really?
They weren't all for the Steelers, but he played 146 career games as a nose tackle.
People didn't know.
Yeah. Also in the 6th round, Greg Lloyd.
Wow. That's one of the best drafts they've ever had.
Yeah. I'm just looking.
It's all defense, too.
In the 10th round, they took some guy named Merrill Hodge.
Oh, cool. Wow.
That's a pretty strong draft.
That's
how
maybe
you turn
number 2.
That's how you turn your team around from, I mean, they were bad in the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
Bad.
You get a Hall of Famer and 4 defensive starters around him.
By the way, somebody asked yesterday on our questions if they'd ever had 2 first-round draft picks. Yes, the other player was forgettable because it was Tim Worley, 7th overall.
Oh, and that was the early one, too. And that was a great draft. That was Aikman, Mandarich, Dion.
They took Worley 7, Ricketts,
Barry Sanders.
Ricketts 24th,
Ugh.
Carnell Lake 34th. So they had three. They had 3 of the top 34 picks, and the only guy that was a star was Carnell Lake.
Mm-hmm.
Then they filed. Who else in that draft? They got Gerald Williams. Gerald is Bill Tomlin, Bill Tomlin. Bill Cowher always used to call him Gerald with a J.
Yeah,
because you had the difference. Yeah, Gerald Williams
was
as well.
D-tackle.
Was a D tackle. You also got DJ Johnson, the cornerback, out of that one.
Okay, that's not bad.
He was a 7th round pick, and then in the 10th round, Jerry Olszewski.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I get a kick out of these 8th rounds and later dudes.
Yeah. Those guys are undrafted free agents now.
Yeah. But there's a few of them that were very worth it.
Oh, more than a few.
Right.
You could dig through this and find all kinds of guys who got drafted in the 8th round or later. That
I'm also sitting there thinking, what if we were on the air in the 10th round?
I mean, I covered drafts. My first full draft was in '93, and there were at least 8 rounds, if I remember correctly.
Were there?
Let me see here. Yeah, that 83 draft, or 93 draft, I should say, was at least 8 rounds deep. Yeah, because Alex Van Pelt was the 8th round draft pick. The year before that was 12, and they'd cut it back to 8.
Wow, okay. But like Van Pelt's a good pick.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get a backup quarterback in the 8th round that lasts forever, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, but I urge people, just if you look at draft classes, be excited about this one. Be excited about last one. But there's a lot of those names that are pretty forgettable. I mean, it's hard to stick.
If they last, so the average NFL career is 2 years.
Yeah.
2. If you get 4 years out of a draft pick, you beat the odds.
Yeah, really. I mean, in like today's NFL, the way it's structured, if it's a 4th round pick or later and you get all 4 years out of them and then they go on their merry way.
And maybe you get like Dan, that's why Dan Moore was not only a good pick, Dan Moore was a home run.
Well, he yielded you something.
They
right.
got 4 years out of him as a starter, and he's going to net them a 3rd round compensatory pick.
Yeah.
Kelvin Beachum was a home run.
Right.
In the 7th round, because not only did you get the starting out of him, he netted you a 3rd round draft pick that you turned into James Conner.
Yeah.
Those are home runs. Those aren't even like doubles off the fence.
No, right.
Those are home runs.
Those are when you're shortstop that doesn't have any power and hits one out of the building.
Right. That's Bill Mazeroski winning the World Series for you.
Right. Your 8th hitter, your catcher that can't hit a lick. Comes
yeah,
up
your light hitting second baseman that wins the World Series for you with a home run.
Yeah,
against the Yankees.
What it is. Right. That's a gift that keeps on giving. Right.
Yeah. Anyways, just an interesting look at the look back there. Let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I'm Dale Lolley. We'll be back with more right after this. And we are back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and Matt on NFL.com. And we've talked about this a lot. We talked about it a lot leading up to the draft. Lance Zierlein put together a piece here talking about the compensatory selections for next year.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of laid it all out. There's only 2 teams right now slated to get 4 picks.
Are the Niners the other?
No. The Ravens.
They're always in the mix.
But here's the thing. All compensatory picks are not equal.
No, 100%.
So the Steelers, as we know, are in line to get 4 compensatory picks next year. 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, and 1 in the 6th.
Yes. And correct me if I'm wrong, if Wilson or Fields could turn into a
they could go, well, I don't know if Wilson can turn into a 3rd because right now he's a 5.
Okay.
He might be able to bump to a 4
based on playing time.
Playing time and production if he makes the Pro Bowl again, stuff like that.
Yep.
But the Ravens.
So you said a 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
The Ravens right now also slated to get 4, which in theory sounds great.
Yeah.
But 2 are in the 5th and 2 are in the 7th.
I think they had 5 6-round picks this year.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, again,
fantastic,
you hit on one of
them.
But it's not the same as a 3rd.
It's not the same. They both have 4 compensatory picks, but one has a 3rd and a 4th. The other one has 2 5ths.
Yeah. No, there's an art to it, and it's great that the Steelers are really dipping their toe in this.
The Jets are projected to have 3, 1 in round 4, 2 in round 7.
Yeah.
That doesn't do you much.
No.
The Eagles, like the Steelers, they have 3, 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th.
That's doing all right. Milton Williams is expensive.
Yeah, Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, Mekhi Becton, Isaiah Rodgers all left, and the only guy they added was Azeez Ojulari.
Oh, wow.
The 49ers.
I'd say they lost a lot.
They only got 3 comp picks out of it, 2 in the 4th and 1 in the 5th.
Okay.
So
a lot walked out the door, though.
Yeah. Teams with 2 picks, the Broncos. But they're both in round 7.
Yeah. They're nice flyers, but
doesn't
whatever.
do you.
Right.
I mean, you might be able to. You can't even like swap those now for hey, we need a veteran tight end.
Right.
You don't have them yet.
You can't even use them for that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. The guy that's a big cap hit.
The Lions have 2, 1 in round 3.
Who did they lose?
Carlton Davis and Kevin Zeitler. 1 in round 7.
Wow. Okay.
The Colts have 2, both in round 7.
Yeah.
Yuck. The Vikings have 2, 1 in round 3, 1 in round 5. Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, they have
and
not.
That might be why they just looked at it and said, you know what, we're not going to
make a huge move
to get a bunch of picks this year because we know we're going to get a bunch of premium picks next year.
They've been really light on day 2 picks the last 2 drafts.
Teams projected to get 1 compensatory pick. The Bears in round 7.
It's a little something.
The Bengals in round 7.
Wow.
Cowboys in round 5.
Yeah, that's not bad.
The Chiefs, round 7. The Raiders are going to get 1 in round 4.
Doesn't sound like many round 3 picks going on.
No. The Rams are going to get an extra 7th round pick.
Okay.
The Saints are going to get an extra 4th round pick.
Yeah, that's big for them.
Yeah. That's it. Those
that's
are it.
Right.
So I think if you look at this, and I don't care whether you're a Steeler fan or however you want to look at it, the Steelers are coming out of this with the most by far.
And more than like half the league combined.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams that don't have any.
I think the only team that's even close to them maybe is the 49ers who have two in the 4th and 1 in the 5th.
Yeah. I'd say they've lost a lot, but okay.
And maybe
in terms of
the Eagles have
value.
The Eagles have a 3, 4, and a 5.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Real nice.
So really it's
those are the top 3 teams.
The Steelers, Eagles, and 49ers.
Like you much have a 3, 4, and 5 than all the Ravens picks.
Yeah.
Of course. Wow.
So,
and again, I do think there's a chance with since they're quarterbacks, they could play a lot of snaps and bump up.
Yeah.
I mean,
again, Russell Wilson made the Pro Bowl this year.
Yeah.
Now, he was an alternate, but if you extrapolate,
I don't quite understand the comp pick formula.
If you extrapolated Russell Wilson's season over the course of a 17-game season,
games.
He would have had 25 touchdown passes and 8 interceptions.
Yeah. Would we take that next year from the Steelers quarterback room?
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely would. Right. Absolutely.
So, anyways, I just thought that was interesting, and Lance laid it all out there.
No, the Steelers are loaded with extra
They
picks.
are. We talked about it.
Are they short any of their own?
No.
Or do they have anyone's extras?
No.
Okay.
They have all their picks lined up.
They'll have 11 picks.
And those additional 4.
Okay. That are subject to change, but you're going to get 4. Yeah, right.
So it's not a bad spot to be in.
It's a great spot to be in.
Yeah. So
again, you could trade a lot of your high stuff and then just move around 2/3 up to the second or whatever. I mean, it just gives you a lot of options.
You know what that was, Matt? That was part of the plan.
The plan, right.
The plan that everybody said, no, not everybody, but a lot of people said they didn't have.
They got no plan.
No plan.
Right.
Just feeling their way through this.
letting Dan Moore go after 4 years of service, part of the plan.
That was part of the plan.
Right.
Yeah.
When you traded or acquired both those quarterbacks, you probably thought,
well, if
one of them probably won't be here.
But if we do, one of them will get something back for.
Hopefully, one's the best player on the planet.
Yeah.
Didn't work out that way, but now it didn't hurt you. You get 2 picks for him.
You get picks.
Right.
Part of the plan.
Part of the plan.
Plans.
Next year's mocks are going to be fun.
That's often more than what we have when we start this show. We rarely have a plan.
Today, yeah.
Somehow we still find a way to get through it, I hope, in an interesting fashion.
Yeah. And again, if there's anyone that wants us to have a new topic or whatever, throw it out.
Anyways, for my partner, Matt Williamson, for CJ Wolfley here on site running the soundboard over there, making sure we get out there and sound okay, and for Tyler Vittmeyer, making sure our video gets up there onto YouTube. Give us a thumbs up there. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'm Dale Lolley. We'll see you next week.
Steelers football happens here. The Pittsburgh Steelers Audio Network.